My Fitbit is taunting me right now. It's telling me I haven't got
You're supposed to stand up and go do your steps, you know? Yeah.
Oh, I have my Apple Watch that does that. If I sit down too long, it's almost like it's yelling at me. It's like, get up and move. Go do this, go do that. It like tells me what to do.
All right, here we are, and welcome to another episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast, where I get together with my sisters who live in far-flung places, and we hang out for an hour, kind of like we used to hang out around the dinner table or in the car after going to see movies every Friday as kids. We've got an exciting and super fun show ahead. We have an awesome guest, an actual television star. Actress is here, Summer Parker. We're very excited. She is not only going to answer our questions, but she's going to play along, as well as hopefully not reveal how old Lily, Becky, and I actually are, as she is part of the future generation. But before we get into talking with and about Summer, why don't I just go around and welcome my sisters. Becky, how you doing? Where are you right now?
I am in Keswick, Ontario, which is, I'm visiting my in-laws. They live about 45 minutes outside of Toronto. So I am not in Toronto. I am in the middle of nowhere, to be specific.
Okay. And cool. Lily, where are you?
I am in Philadelphia, in Center City, Philly, right now.
And we just got off of an epic Passover weekend.
Yes.
I am my bloodstream is 75% matzah right now and 20% just meat. And like
samesies.
Tiny little bit left over.
My percentages are the opposite. I feel like I'm like 75% meat right now and like 25 matzah, but it's still not a good combo.
Wait, Shai, what was your last sliver of percentage?
It's either Haros...
Diet root beer.
I drink a lot of that. To the point where my kids are concerned. Like this morning, I was sitting with my younger child, and she was thirsty, and I didn't want to get up, and I was drinking this diet root beer, and I was like, "Oh, all right, here you go, have this." And she's like, "No, Daddy, Mommy does not want you giving me beer to drink." I was like, "It's not beer. Don't tell your friends I gave you beer. You're 4. I would never give you actual beer."
That's amazing.
So before we get started, we always give our shout-outs. We're going to do a whole bunch of shout-outs later. But I got a message from our famed cousin Vanessa, who, we really don't spend enough time thanking her for listening on this program.
No, she's our, number one fan.
Exactly.
Cousin Vanessa. And
Cousin Vanessa sends me a note, and I'll reveal a little bit that makes it kind of, make this even funnier. Cousin Vanessa sends me a note, and she says, "Hey, Shai, been listening to the program. She recommended a show. I think it was High Maintenance, which I think we're going to talk about later in another episode. And she says, I can't even remember a time we've ever hung out. We really should hang out at this point." And I think, and by the way, for those listening, 100% true. I've seen Cousin Vanessa maybe 4 times in my life. I talk about her every week, but
which is so weird because people would be really surprised to hear this. I think, considering our family is so close, we have so many cousins that we spend a lot of time with, but geographically and age-wise, you and her have not crossed paths.
Exactly. I mean, we've seen each other a few times, and I know you guys are all very close, so I automatically love her by association. And I said, my one real memory is from the incident on our front lawn with Lily and Mom's car. And so before we got going into the show, I really wanted to take a moment to we could tell the story together, this embarrassing story.
Just to be fair, this is just an embarrassing story about me. There's so many better stories about Cousin Vanessa because like Becky and I know her way more than you do, and Becky lives like 10 minutes from her. So I just remember. Cousin Vanessa is so much more than this story, which makes me look terrible.
No, I think this story
And-
says a lot about her, because in the moment of this story, I remember actually thinking of the time, because she had to go. Like, she had to just leave the scene of the crime, because I think she had plans with the family. And I remember thinking, like, wow, bet she's never going to hang out with us again. So here's what happens. Lily, our house was across the street from a park growing up in Montreal, and Lily was pulling out of the driveway, pulling out of the driveway, and there had been a car that parked in the no parking. There's a no parking spot
illegally.
Illegally
This is
parked.
a crucial point of the story.
And
Illegally.
it was a dude with moppy, curly brown hair, and I remember that really, really well. He was like a teenager, and he had parked illegally behind our or across the street from our driveway, where you're not supposed to park, because I don't know why, but this kind of proves it. And I just realized Mom's going to get mocked in this as well. So as Lily is pulling out of the driveway,
I feel like I need to tell it.
Okay, go ahead.
So you and Vanessa are on the porch of the house, like where that little porch that we had, and I'm saying goodbye to both of you, right? Like, you guys are outside.
Yeah.
Am I correct? And I had to leave first because I think I was in college or something. I don't know. I had to like go do something, and I'm saying goodbye to both of you, and I'm backing out of the driveway. Now, the kid that had parked illegally is playing tennis in the park, just to let you know. And there's nobody in the car. And as I'm backing up, it may have looked like I could have hit him had I kept going. But like, I was backing up slowly and was going to have to do like a 2 or 3 point turn to not hit him and drive down the street. And as I'm backing up, my mom comes running out to the porch and she goes, "No!"
Yeah, she was yelling. I mean,
she's yelling, like screaming, like, I think because she thought that I would hit him, and she was like,
I mean, that was
careful.
a good assumption that you might have hit. You had already hit
That
telephone
was-
poles.
We will
at that point.
never-
I don't
That was
think
Becky?
Lily was planning on doing a 3-point turn.
Yeah,
I think
I-
Lily was
I
planning on
think
hitting.
I
that
thought she'd
this
hit-
is not fair. Like, in a court of law, this would be the point where someone goes objection and then get
Speculation?
over
Hearsay.
hearsay or speculation.
Speculation.
And
Mens
I
rea.
don't know. Exactly. And I would not be overruled. The opposite one, where they go, you may
Sustained.
proceed.
Sustained.
Sustained, exactly, because we will never know. And I saw him in my rearview mirror.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I saw him in my rearview mirror, but because my mom comes running out and I'm waving, bye Vanessa, bye Shy, I go, I thought there was like an emergency, so I stop the car and open the door of the car and I jump out, like, did something happen? And as I jump out, I did not put the car in park because there was an emergency, and I just flung myself out of the car to be like, what happened? And I didn't stop to take the time to put it in park. And I jump out of the car.
Well, hold on.
and then
Now, I was watching,
Yeah.
so let me take over here. And then the
Sure.
car just keeps driving back at full speed in reverse. And it hits, like, the back of the car hits the front of this other car.
It
and
goes
then
right
just-
into his door.
Yeah, right into the door.
just
And then it just
crunched.
keeps going. Like, you hear
Yes.
crunch, and it's just, like,
'cause
pulling the side off of his car, then bending our door backwards until the car had nowhere else to move.
But if I could tell you that this is what 2 miles an hour, and in a space of like barely like a tiny street, like this is it sounds like a horrible car accident, and yet nobody was barely moving.
No, nobody was
And
moving.
it's just ridiculous.
the whole
thing was
neighborhood-
so ridiculous.
The whole neighborhood saw it.
The
and
kid
that-
comes running down from the tennis court, screaming,
Yeah.
"What have you done to my car? My parents are gonna kill me!"
And we all agreed in that moment, and I'll end on this note. We all agreed. We were like, "Mom, why'd you yell at Lily?" Maybe
Yeah, I totally agreed that it was my mom's fault. And then of course we have to deal with the police and everything. And my mom's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "What's wrong with you? I would never have jumped out of the car had you not screamed like a maniac."
All right, so that is for you, Cousin Vanessa. That's a little bit of family history. And now, we'll bring us to our guest, Summer Parker. Welcome, Summer.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great. I'll tell everyone a little bit about you. So Summer Parker is an up-and-coming, awesome star and a really nice person who was in the pilot for the spinoff of the Goldbergs. And everybody knows we are a big Goldbergs family. We are true Gold nerds. And Summer played the character Gigi on Schooled, also known as the 1990-something special that aired earlier this year, which I believe was like insanely highly rated. And so we are super excited, and her character was absolutely one of the standout characters of that show. So we were super excited and hoping that there will be more of that show. But if not, we're just hoping and excited to see more and more of Summer's incredible acting and talents. And we were delighted that, as we were going back and forth on Twitter, that she was willing and able to join us on the program. So Summer, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we're going to ask you some questions about you, and then we'll have you play along with some of our usual shtick. Does that work for you?
Oh, it does.
That's great. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. I would love to know. So you are a teenager, right? We can.
Yep, 14 years old.
14 years old. We are grateful that your parents allowed you to hang out with us. How did you start acting? What got you into all of this, and when?
Well, it was actually my brother who got me into this around like 8 years ago. And it was so funny because none of our family ever even knew anything about the business. And one day my mom was just going through Craigslist and she saw this ad for a short film. So she presses on it, and it's like a description of my brother almost. So she was like, okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and get him an audition then. We knew nothing, literally nothing. So
and where did you grow up? Sorry, Summer, where are you at this point?
Well, I was born in Wisconsin, but more than half my life I've been living in Georgia.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but this happened in Georgia, all of this stuff. So he went on the audition, he got the part. So he was on set every day, and of course I went with, and I was seeing him do this, and I was like, geez.
That's awesome.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So he was like doing all this acting, and I was like, gosh, this looks like a lot of fun. And I used to be really, really shy. I used to like hide behind my mom's leg, really shy, not say anything to anybody. And I looked at my mom and my dad, and I said, I can do that. And my mom was like, I don't know, Summer, you're kind of shy. You don't really talk to anybody. And I said, but I can do this. Like, I'm not shy. I'll do this. And
wow.
Yeah, and that's how it really happened. And
you would have been 6 at that time?
Yeah, well, 7. Because
7.
I'm about to turn 15. But yeah, I was 7 years old, and that's when it all happened. And I remember like a few years later, because this business, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty difficult. It's not easy whatsoever. And oh gosh, 8 years ago, that's how long it took for a lot of these things to happen. That's how difficult it is. And I remember my first part was Starcross.
All right, I've seen that clip of you speaking in like a mystery language, right? In the sort of like a alien language,
it was a made up language made by the Game of Thrones writer. And that language wasn't even a part of the script until we were on the way to New Orleans. And I was in the car, and my mom got an email saying, can Summer please learn this language?
Oh,
and
God.
I still remember the language to this day. Would you guys like to hear it?
Yes.
Yaksumi Spani de Lily and Bima Hudu Hurizinu Idiomadisi Kasandi Las Kas.
Are you
That
kidding
was the
me?
language. It was
What?
Hi Mom,
How did
it's
you
me,
just
Lily.
learn? How did you learn a made-up language?
And remember it. I can't remember actual languages.
Yeah,
You
and
know
Lily
what?
speaks
I
3
actually,
different ones.
And
I don't know.
barely.
Like, I don't know how I did that. Like, I surprised myself. Like, I had no idea.
But how old were you? This was,
I was
4 years ago,
I
right?
was 10. Yeah, I was 10 years
Wow.
old. And
Wow.
that language is what I learned on the way there. And it was, hi, Mom, it's me, Lily. You probably don't recognize me because I'm all grown up now.
Okay, wait.
And I just thought of it. Lily.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Lily on the show.
Yeah.
It was Lily.
And
That was my first part.
And it
That
seems
was the
like
very
your
first one.
your photographer for your IMDb profile is also named Lily, which I
Yeah,
find,
Lily K Photography.
yeah, and my last name is Lily K, Lily Corman.
Oh my
which
gosh,
is
that's
super
So weird.
I know. I saw that before, and I was like, oh, that's a coincidence.
Yeah.
So among other things I noticed, so here's what dawned on me just now when you told us this amazing story about you learning the language, which is number one, beyond impressive that you did that. Number two, I was feeling a little bit bad. I'm like, oh, we're asking her to watch a couple of movies before the show, you know, like a week ago, send you like a link to see Can't Hardly Wait, some like movie from the 90s. But I'm like, we're way better than the acting people who gave you a full language to learn in the cab ride over to the set. So I feel a lot better now about what we've put you through. And
For sure.
So you talked about the business being hard. You are incredibly positive. You're positive in person now, having chatted with you, but also on social media, which is how we started interacting through all of the fun Goldbergs fandom. And I'm amazed as a follower of yours on Instagram, and it's how positive and constructive you are, both about your own career, but also about building up other people. I know there are friends of yours, or your agent, or your family. How I cannot imagine what it is like to be a teenager in this era, even as a grown-up living in this world of digital gossip and everything like that. What is your secret, and frankly your family's secret, to keeping you such a positive person in this type of environment?
Well, first, as far as the business goes, I really just love what I do. And I know that this business has a lot of ups and downs and everything like that, but at the end, I feel like it's all worth it. And it's worth the no's and stuff like that, to be able to experience things like how it was to be on like the set of Schooled and everything like that. And that's basically, like, overall, I'm a pretty happy person. Like, I resemble Gigi a lot, actually.
I got that feeling.
Yeah.
That's a feeling I got when I watched it.
Sometimes, and they're like, geez, how are you so happy all the time?
And how do you keep it positive in the social media world? I mean, I imagine when people know you and they're famous, you might either get a hard time from random people you don't know that you have to block. Like look, we're not, Lily, Becky, and I are not interesting enough that we have haters on the internet. I don't know if you ever have to deal with that, but like no one's ever like going out of their way to give us a hard time.
Yeah.
Do you ever have to deal with anything like that? And how do you deal with that?
I mean, there's been a few. There always is, but you always have to love them. I mean, they're giving you the attention, whether or not it's good or bad.
I've said that multiple times. There's no bad press.
Right.
Well,
right.
it's a very positive outlook. You have a good attitude.
Plus, we're inducting you into the Friday Night Movie family as of this podcast. So you consider us your squad. And
Oh yeah, we got your back.
I think we need to rephrase it. Can we please be in your squad?
that's right.
I think that's what I meant.
Will you guys be in my squad?
Oh
Yes,
my goodness.
yes.
Oh my god, 100%.
So we are proud to have been invited to your squad. We will always have your back if anybody gives you a hard time. And believe me, having been on the end of both of my sisters' anger over the years, that is, so that leads me to talk about family. I've noticed, again, having seen all your stuff on Instagram, and you already talked about your brothers. You seem to have a really close family. Your mom seems like absolutely awesome. What's the role they play for you in being in your career?
Well, all of them are very, very supportive. Like, my brother is the one who got me into the business. He's really supportive. He supports everything that I do. He helps me a lot with everything. He'll read scripts with me sometimes. And then there's my sister. She homeschools me.
Your sister
Yeah.
homeschools you?
Oh, yeah. She's
Whoa.
So she's your teacher.
Super smart. She's 28 years old, and she homeschools me, and that's like very useful, because homeschooling is like it's a must in this business. I mean, this business takes up a lot of your time. It's not like a part-time thing. It takes up a lot of the time, and being homeschooled really helps, and she helped me so I understand everything. So that's the way, like, she is super supportive in both ways, with homeschooling being one of them.
Oh, wow.
And my
That's
mom,
Wow, that is so impressive. That is so cool that your sister.
And so you have a brother, sister, and then you have another sibling? Because you're four?
Yeah, I have two brothers and one sister, and then I have my other brother. His name is Jake. He's the one who does music. And he's just, I mean, he's amazing. He helps us so much. He travels with us a lot. And he also helps me with scripts.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
And does your other brother, not Jake, does he still act as well?
he used to act in, when he was, I would say, about maybe 11 or 12, he decided that he wanted to put it down to be an actor. Or
Okay.
not an actor, a doctor, I'm sorry.
A doctor, right, because
Yeah,
you said he wants to go to medical school. He's planning on going to medical
that's
school.
what he decided that he wanted to do. So, I mean, he was a very good actor. He was hilarious in all of his things. But he just decided that he wanted to go another route, and he's super smart. He's a super good actor. So, I mean, whatever he wants to do, he's good at both things.
Wow.
That's really cool. Okay, now we are big Goldbergs fans. We just watched School, so I got to give you this scene. We're so the day after the first Seder of Passover, we always have family over to my parents' apartment, and we make something called matzah brie, which is a very dense version of French toast made out of multiple layers of matzah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's and my mom and I make it together, and then as we were eating them, gorging ourselves on matzah brie, we tricked my mom into signing up to Hulu so we could watch the 1990 something special,
true.
which Becky and I had seen, but Lily had not been able to see it because she was in Spain. And we gathered around with my cousins who actually went to Penn Charter, which is the school that the school in the special and in the Goldbergs is based on. And so not only did we
Where Adam Goldberg went.
Yeah, where Adam Goldberg went. So not only were we watching the hilarious episode of the show, but we had like a constant commentary from our cousins Mindy and Shelley, who, shout out to them, we love them. Our cousins Mindy and Shelley, who were being like, "Oh, that's Coach Meller. We know Coach Meller. He did this." And my cousin Mindy was actually on the softball team, the one that your sister's character ends up on in the show.
Oh my gosh!
So that was really fun, and we got to ask you, what I'll just start with. You know, we are a huge fan of Adam and his family. They have created something that, for me in particular, is like the version of this TV show, The Wonder Years. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Yeah, I have.
So for me, The Goldbergs is like my Wonder Years, and the fact that he was embarking on doing something on the 90s was even more significant because that was really when, particularly the three of us,
that's
came
when
of age.
we were in school.
So just top line, what was it like being a part of that program and that set and working with Adam and all of that crew?
You know what? It was really, really fun. It was awesome to be a part of his show. And he was really nice. He came up to me on set, and it was like really, like, I couldn't believe it. It was almost like every day that I woke up, I just wanted to pinch myself because I just could not believe that I was there. And I remember the day that I got the call that I got the part of Gigi. I almost died. It was ridiculous. Like, it was a mixture between crying and laughing, and it was everything. Like, I felt like I was gonna pass out. That's how excited I was. And to be able to watch his work on TV and then be able to meet him in person was like a dream come true.
That's really, really cool. So Gigi, this character to me stood out so well because she reminds me in so many ways of a real person you'd actually see in school, as opposed to sometimes they have like cliche characters which are really, really funny. But to me, she really reminded me of people I knew. How did Gigi come about?
How did Gigi come about? Well, it's almost like Gigi is just like me. Like, my family makes fun of me all the time because they're like, you act so outgoing, and why are you so happy all the time? And you're always laughing, that high-pitched scream of yours. They're always laughing at me about that. And the first time I even read the script for that audition, it was so weird because me and my mom looked at each other and we were like, this sounds just like me. Because, yes, it was like the script reminded me so much of myself. And the audition of this actually happened in February, a year ago from now. And it was on Valentine's Day, actually, was the audition. Shout out to my acting coach, Tim Donner. I booked that off of tape. That
Oh.
audition, but I didn't meet with them live.
Oh,
I
wow.
didn't typeset them, but
Whoa.
That's
I
really
learned that
tough.
off of tape. And
That's
yeah,
crazy.
I mean, you never really hear of that happening, so that was just like so cool for that to happen.
Well, that is awesome. We won't.
That's right. I was going to ask you what the audition process was like, but there we
Yeah.
go. You sent in a tape, and that actually you touched on something I had wanted to ask you about, which is that do you do acting lessons? I guess you do have a coach. Like, can you tell us a little bit about how you practice and improve on your craft?
Yeah, well, for the first couple years of acting, I went to classes, and I went to classes mostly with Tim Donner, which is my acting coach, and he's the best. I really loved him, and he was the classes I did the most of, and I feel like Tim is really who sculpted me into the actress I am today. And as far as auditions go, we get the auditions and we put them on tapes and we send them in. And I mean, you never, sometimes you hear back. I have a few tapes out right now that are in producers, which is super exciting. And then sometimes you never hear back. I mean, it's like a roller coaster.
Wow. I guess you have to I guess you have to be really tough to sort of handle a lot of that, the unknown or not hearing back or disappointment.
Yeah, tough skin, and I feel like that's part of who I am, and I feel like if I get it, I mean that's amazing. If I don't, well, we have to move on. There's always something else, and everything happens for a reason. It's what I feel like what happens, and I mean, as far as the Goldbergs, what happened with that was just amazing because. Adam's stories are literally liquid gold. His recipe is amazing for his. It is so funny because I really loved his storyline of his show because of everything actually happened. I mean, that's not something that you usually see in TV shows, but in his, I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, not only that, we feel often like it happened to us. Okay, so before we get into our segment of the day, one last thing. So in the future, is there an actor or a director, an artist that you are most excited to work with or you hope to work with? Separate from Schooled and the Goldbergs, which we are 100% rooting for. ABC, please give us this show. We have been, we really want it.
I hope so. And the actress that I would love to work with is Kate McKinnon.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
That is a great call.
Cool.
She is hilarious. Like, she keeps me like laughing the whole time that I am watching SNL, which we watch every time it's on.
Mm-hmm. But you know, you've gotten, I mean, just the fact that you got to work, just because you touched on SNL, and then I know later on we're going to talk about teen movies, and we're going to talk about Mean Girls, and you got to work with Tim Meadows on Schooled, who was also in Mean Girls.
And SNL. And the SNL when we grew up.
Right, yeah, when we were growing up, so that's, you know, we were watching him, so that must have been really cool.
It was really cool because I watched Mean Girls when I was little, a long time ago. I would say like right when I started getting into the acting business, a very long time ago, and I never would have thought, like, geez, I'm going to work with Tim Meadows one day.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm assuming you didn't think that.
I never.
And you know what you probably never were? You never thought I'm gonna do a Skype call with 3 random siblings.
But look, I mean, show business takes you to mysterious places.
Okay, well, you are a teen actress, and we love all of the great teen comedy movies dating all the way back to the early days of, you know, American Graffiti. Was more of our parents' generation, and then for us, Can't Hardly Wait, American Pie, all those movies. So we thought it would be fun to talk about teenage movies with a bona fide expert in being a teenager, that being you. And you were very gracious in agreeing to watch stuff that we sent your way. And the first movie we want to talk about today is Can't Hardly Wait, which, to give you the timing for, and for folks listening, I'm sure a lot of the people listening feel similarly because they're about our age. My graduating year is the year that Can't Hardly Wait is taking place. So that's 1998, and I graduated, well, technically 97, because in Canada you graduate high school in 11th grade, which still mystifies my wife in particular.
And I was your age. I was 14 years old when this movie came out.
So,
oh wow!
Mm-hmm.
So this movie, which I saw in the theater, is very significant to us. So we and we watched it together the other night, and we had a lot of fun watching it together. So
I think watching is a generous term.
Yeah,
because we basically recited the movie. Yeah, we acted it out, and then we had the visuals in the background to help us. But
yeah, and actually
we talked through the entire thing.
I don't know if your family does this summer, but our family, my parents' apartment has like an open concept kitchen, which really ensures that all of the noise from the kitchen is playing over whatever thing you're trying to watch in the living room. And we have a running joke on the podcast. Actually, we talk about how no matter what, when we start a movie, my mom or dad start grinding coffee, like fancy coffee beans, like. And so this is like 10:30 at night. We're sitting down to watch Can't Hardly Wait, and right as the movie starts, no coffee. My mom pulls out the vacuum and starts vacuuming right in front of the television as we're watching the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god!
And then as I'm saying, Mom, shh, because I'm the chief. I don't mind people talking during a movie if you're engaging with the movie. That's fun. That's like, but as I'm saying, shh, Mom, do you have to do the vacuum? Lily barks out, Shy, quiet, the vacuum's trying to listen.
It was just so absurd. We literally sat down, and not only is she vacuuming, but she starts vacuuming directly in front of the television.
Yeah.
Like, we were like, are you kidding me? It was as if it was on purpose. She had no idea. She was like, oh, I'm just trying to clean up some glass that broke before and made it into the living room. We're like, there's no glass. This is a lie.
Before we get derailed talking about our mother.
Oh, sorry. Let's talk about the movie.
I'm dying. I want to hear first impressions. Summer, what'd you think?
It was good. I recognized one of the songs in the movie, and I started dancing.
Wait, which song? Because we knew like almost every Tricky.
Tricky
Yeah.
I don't know the words, so I'm just kind of making them up as I go. I know the rhythm though.
That's pretty much what we do.
Yeah. That whole song. So the songs in that were the soundtrack of me driving around in my family's red van in like the summer of 1997, 98, whatever year that it came, 98. That all of those songs are so real for us. You hadn't seen the movie before?
No, I haven't seen it before. So that was the first time I actually watched the movie. I have to say, it was a good movie, but all movies I'm kind of confused by a lot of movies.
Okay.
That happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't get so what I usually do is I watch it and then I watch it a second time, and then I usually get the concept of the movie that way. So that's what I did.
So you watched it twice.
Yeah, I watched
That's
it
amazing.
this morning.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a good movie. I really thought, it's pretty good.
Okay. All right.
And wait, did you watch it with anybody else or by yourself?
Yes, I watched it with my mom and my dad and my brother, Stuart.
And what, did they influence because I feel like them being older than you might appreciate it in a different way. Did that influence your liking it, or?
Lily's very nervous you didn't like the movie. That's what I hear.
I don't want
It's
you
not
to feel
that.
like you
It's
have to
just
tell us we liked it. I don't want you to feel like you have to tell us you liked it just because we liked it. If you didn't like it, we'd be okay with that. But if you did like it, that's amazing too.
Okay,
There's no pressure.
What I mean is that, maybe if I was Summer's age and I'm watching this movie and I'm being all by myself, I'd be like, "What the hell? How is this funny?
Why is that guy wearing goggles?
Goggles. And what
Right.
are with these
my
costumes?
God. Yeah, I was thinking that.
In 1998, guys dressed that way. They had these fake little dreadlocks, and they would wear things like goggles and padlocks around their necks, which is like, you know,
but like it's real, and so
it's real.
And so so I thought maybe if you had watched it, your liking of it could have been enhanced if you watched it with people that kind of give legitimacy to the movie. That's all I was thinking.
Right. Yeah, because when we were watching the movie, my mom and my dad were like, "Look, that's a payphone. We used to use payphones all the time." I'm like, "What?"
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, there's no payphones now, and you hardly ever see people smoke. And like in that movie, people are smoking now.
It's true.
And then like parties. And now parties are not like really that big anymore. So like usually if there's like internet gatherings, like on like Twitter and like
oh my god, what is that?
Stuff,
what is that?
And that like parties, like I don't know, like I don't know if I'm not like the only one that's not getting invited to parties or what.
I will say that growing up in Canada, I had a few crazy parties that we went to. But none of them ever looked like the portrayal of a party in the American movie. So our assumption growing up in Montreal, my assumption was that, this is just what every weekend is like in New Jersey or Ohio or something like that. Just all of these people tearing apart houses, dancing. So I've never seen a party that actually looked just like the one in Can't Hardly Wait or in any other movies like that.
Yeah, like Mean Girls too. Like that.
Exactly. Okay, so we have a bunch of bits that we do when we talk about the movies, and so I want to throw a couple of those out here, and they're for everybody to answer. In fact, I will start with Lily, just cause. Who's your MVP of Can't Hardly Wait? And you can't say every character.
No, it's obviously Seth Green.
No,
right.
William is the MVP. What are you talking about?
He asked me, so he asked me, so
he said we could all answer. To be fair,
yeah, in some kind of sequence.
Yeah, and also it's not a debate. Everybody can have their own opinion.
Have their own answer. Fine.
Becky's
I don't
like
have to convince
wrong.
You.
It was a
wrong.
quiz.
Wrong opinion. Wrong answer.
But yeah, to me, it's Kenny. It's Kenny Fisher.
Well, for me, it's William.
Yeah,
okay.
the nerd.
But
the nerd who
why do you
has
like?
an epic night.
Why do you like those guys?
I love Kenny so much because maybe I feel like I went to camp with somebody like that or something.
Oh no, that kid! There's 100 kids like Kenny at Jewish summer camp in the 1990s.
In the 90s, right? And I think that like what I liked about it was that how as you grow up and with kids and when you're in like elementary school and high school and stuff like that, you see them evolve and they clearly haven't figured out who they're going to be, but they like go through phases or whatever, and then you could stop being friends with somebody because they go a certain way, but it'll come back around. And I love that how him and Lauren Ambrose, I can't remember her actually. Denise Fleming were childhood friends, and then they clearly are not, and then they get locked in the bathroom. And I just like how you actually see who both of them are, but they're like putting on these like high school cool fronts, and I just really love that part of the movie. I actually find this super realistic. So he's my favorite.
All right, and Beck.
Well, William, because he sets out to get revenge, but really he just needed to have a little time to cut loose and do something different and be outside of his shell. And so, you go on a journey with William, and that's what I like about it. The whole night is an adventure for him.
Character development. In this family, character development, even in a movie like Can't Hardly Wait, matters.
It's important, yeah.
All right, Summer, did you have an MVP?
Yes. The guy who wears the goggles. What's his name?
Kenny.
Yeah. Kenny. Okay. He was hilarious. I can't get the image out of my head. Like, he just kept me laughing the whole time. And that's why.
That's what I'm saying, Summer. That's what I'm saying.
He's amazing.
Okay. It's so hard for me to pick an MVP for myself. Because you guys all picked up on the best characters, so I'll just pass on that for now. Okay, who's your least valuable player? And this can be a character that you don't like because you don't think they're like the made up character isn't good, or if there's a particular performance that you don't like. We're not. Don't worry, we're not gonna be mean to actors. But yeah, do you guys have any least valuable players?
Yeah, I do.
Becky. Go for it.
Amanda's cousin who hits on her and like makes out with her. He's just so smarmy and gross and icky and ugh. I didn't like him, and he just was like totally misreading her cues, and I do not like him. He is my least valuable player.
I find that scene to be one of the funniest scenes in the whole movie. and I'm not going to name any names because tons of our relatives listen to this, but I know at least one relative of ours that would do something gross like that. So, like, on top of that, I'm like, ugh, Lily, do you have a least valuable player?
By the way, his name is Cousin Ron in the movie.
Cousin
Ron. I mean, yeah, I guess him. There's really, maybe I would also say the stoner guy with the big hair, because like he just seems like super like just like a nice dude in high school, and then he's so gross to Amanda at the end.
Oh,
yeah.
Like, when he's just like so gross with her, and I'm like, ew. And I guess it's on purpose to be like every guy in high school is pretty much gross except for Ethan Embry, so that's why they're together.
Preston,
but Preston, yeah, Myers, Prestone, right? So what bothered me about him is that he's so funny during the movie, and then he says that gross stuff to her, and I'm like, ugh, I don't like you anymore.
Summer, do you have a least valuable player?
No, I like all the characters in the movie. There was none that I really didn't like. Although I think Amanda, I think there should have been more of her. I feel like she was like,
yes,
this is a good perspective. This is a good point.
That is a great point because I feel like she's very one-dimensional, and she literally breaks up with one guy one night, and then the next day starts a relationship where they're like together forever. I feel like she needs to spend some time getting to know herself. Be single.
Yeah, I feel like there should have been like a little bit more of her because she was a really good actress, and her character was like the star of the movie. And
right?
Yeah.
But then she doesn't get that much screen time.
Right.
And I'm assuming that today, like in 2018, a teen movie wouldn't be made like this, well, for so many reasons, but it's sad to me. It's sad because I love it, but it's also important that today you wouldn't have such a one-dimensional female lead of a movie.
Yeah,
who's just like boobs in a tank top. Like, I hope that wouldn't happen.
So, as the teenage boy perspective, because I was one 20 plus years ago, I would add, now if I go back to my MVP, and I'm going to put myself in my shoes in 1998 and say she's my MVP. And the reason why is because I was like in love with her in this
she's
movie.
Gorgeous.
Because I was like, wait a
gorgeous.
minute, there is a girl this pretty who broke up with her jock boyfriend and is going to end up with this goober in his, open button-down shirt, which like could easily have been an outfit I was wearing at the time, who likes to read Kurt Vonnegut. Now, let's be clear, I don't really like reading, but among the authors that I have read, Kurt Vonnegut is one of them. And
amazing.
And Jennifer Love Hewitt at that time in particular, having been on Party of Five, I don't know if she'd done I Don't Know What You did a lot that last summer yet, that movie.
I don't think yet.
But she was just so iconic for kids that age at that time. I just loved. I'm like,
she had done it the year before.
I'm like, yeah, there could be a girl that huge. Attractive and nice in my high school that breaks up with her super jock boyfriend and wants to go out with me. So that layer of hope, which is probably the most unrealistic character in the whole show, right? In the whole movie, or the unrealistic moment to me, she was great. But you're right in that only makes me want to have had her be more in the movie. And a little bit more explanation. Like one thing I always ask myself is that those other women that are her friends, including Jamie Presley, who is in a small role in the movie, it's hard for me to believe she is so cool, and those were her friends. Maybe those were her only options because they were really not such great people. They weren't even nice to her behind her back. So if I was going to have least valuable players, it would be, and this is going to segue into our next segment, it would be the mean girls in the movie.
Yeah.
So that's a good segue, and let's talk about now. So we asked Summer, what's a teen movie of her generation, and we couldn't really name one, and maybe there really hasn't been one yet, but one that did come to mind was Mean Girls, which is another huge favorite, which we saw in the theaters when we were in our 20s when it was in the theaters.
I must have been.
You were.
I must have
19
been
or
like
20.
19. I must have been like 18 or 19 when it came out.
So okay, back to Summer here. Summer, what as a teenager, again, as our bona fide expert on being a teenager right now, what about this movie speaks to you, let's say, as compared to the Goggles movie that we made you watch?
What would speak
About Mean Girls.
Like, why do you like it so much? Why is it special to you?
Well, I would say like I understood the movie a little bit more, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So like could pretty much, like, although I don't go to regular school or anything, I feel like that movie is kind of like really relatable with like the Mean Girls and everything, and like because like Kathy or Katie is what they call her in the movie, was a homeschool student and everything.
Right,
and
that's
she
right.
Just went into high school as a senior, so yeah, that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, you were. I
forgot
that.
Her character is homeschooled, and she's moved back to the United States and is sent to like a real high school for the first time in her whole life.
Yeah,
and so she's dealing with like this culture shock of like, what is this place, and why are there all these different groups and cliques?
Right.
Oh wow.
And it just doesn't understand why people.
Same way. Like,
yeah, and it seems like you'd also wouldn't understand why anybody could be mean to anyone ever. So.
Yes, definitely.
So that's a really good point. Okay, and for me, I remember when this movie came out. This was a really significant movie because I feel like, particularly Becky, if I don't mean to out you on this, but you more than Lily was more of a like pick her one best friend, and Lily like stuck with her best friend, even if that best friend was a criminal, and Lily wasn't. Lily stuck with a very clear crew. But Becky,
I was not super popular nor picked on. Just sort of like had one very close best friend and friends with everybody. Didn't need much else.
and I wasn't popular, but I think I was. I feel
like you rolled with
You were beloved. You were beloved.
I would say you rolled with a pretty large group of most of the high school.
Cue the text messages and emails from people from high school that will be emailing me at this, being like, "We beg to differ." But no, you're right. I was really fortunate. I had, even though high school has its miserable moments, I've had the same best friends since I was 12 years old. The same group of guys, and a lot of them were in high school. And then female friends as well. Ilana, who's an avid listener as well. She is still a really good friend. But we went to a small school, and I didn't have. But Becky, you were like, your era was. I feel like it was like Mean Girls went into like an arms race of which girls could be the meanest. That's what I felt like your life in high school was.
I think
like.
Becky's year coined the term Mean Girls. Like, it didn't exist until Becky's year.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. No, but I mean, to be fair, I am still best friends with my absolute best friend from high school. She and I are very, very close to this day. But I would say from my whole school life, from elementary school on, it felt more like landmines. Like, if you avoided the truly evil people, you could get by unscathed, but you wanted to stay off their radar.
So for me, having seen that experience for you, this movie was like a revelation. I was like, This is amazing. This is a great lesson. And it was also like, I had first, when I not that I didn't know who Tina Fey was, but I was like, whoa, Tina Fey wrote this. This is incredible. Man. That was a big deal. So I won't rehash the MVP thing, but what I will ask about Mean Girls is, if you were doing a sequel. Okay, we play a game called Pitch Imperfect, and there's different variations of the game, but often it involves us pitching a sequel to a show. So you can take it, or a movie, or a spinoff or something like that. You can take a moment to process here. Lily and Becky, if you were doing a sequel to Mean Girls, what I think there actually is one, but like a real one.
There is one,
but a real one, not one that is about other kids in high school, but that revisits the characters somehow. What would you pitch? And it can't be there on a cruise ship, because we've pitched the cruise ship sequel now 3 weeks in a row for different movies.
I mean, but it has to be revisiting the characters.
It has to have a connection to this one,
okay,
and not just like in the same school. Like it has to be more of a sequel than Grease 2.
My sequel would be a prequel where you do flashbacks into each of the adult characters' teenage years and see what their formative experience was that turned them into who they are today. So you do like the Tim Meadows character, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, and
I'm buying that. That is a great idea. If you're going to tell me there's a movie where Amy Poehler, Tina Fey, and Tim Meadows do like a then and now situation, I'm watching that movie.
That's my sequel.
Summer, we're already casting you as one of the young versions of one of the characters.
You're hired.
You're hired. Yeah, you're in. You're going to be a key character, and you can either play in type as like the nice, wonderful person that you are, or if you want to, go outside your range, you could be a mean girl if you wanted in this. We would give you carte blanche to be whatever you want in this film.
In this made-up film we've just created in the last 10 seconds, but that we've also greenlit.
Yeah.
I think it's a good storyline.
Thank you.
Great.
Lily, do you have an idea?
Yeah, what I would do is do sort of like a not Neighbors or something like that, but like I would do when they go to college. Somehow they end up going to the same college, but it's Rachel McAdams and Lindsay Lohan that are friends, and they've got to fight against this like awful sorority bully or something like that.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Okay, so like a Rocky.
They team up.
So like a Rocky 3 teaming up with Apollo situation.
Sure.
You don't know what I'm talking about at all.
Or a Neighbors 2 situation, kind of thing.
Okay.
Where
situation.
Like Zac Efron and Seth Rogen have to join together. Like, so yeah, I would like to see them in college, and I would literally watch Rachel McAdams read a newspaper. I love her.
So I want to explore. I love side characters, and Lizzie Kaplan is in this movie, right? She plays.
This is true.
She plays Janice Ian, and I want to see a sequel whereby we see her story evolve. And I don't know if it's like she becomes mean, or she goes through her own change, and then the Lindsay Lohan character is the more consistent person, or the one who feels wronged. I'd like to see that, just to see more Lizzie Kaplan character, because she's awesome in that.
Okay.
But I think you guys have way better pitches than me. Like I almost didn't give mine now because yours are way better. Mm-hmm. Are there any other things you guys want to say about Mean Girls? Summer, is there anything you want to say about Mean Girls?
I think, well, as far as like a kind of like a sequel of Mean Girls, I think it'd be really cool to show them maybe as adults, and like as Gretchen.
Oh, Gretchen Wieners. Oh.
Played by Maya Rudolph, and then like have me be their daughter or something, and then like maybe kind of revisit it, but with their kids. And
that's
good. That would
they can actually do that now because enough time has passed.
Yeah,
and they could all be still living in the same place easily, so their kids would go to the same school.
That's a winning.
That's
script.
better.
So, Summer,
I like that.
I want to hear more of the pitch. So you're gonna have Gretchen Wieners be older.
Yeah, maybe played by Maya Rudolph, which I would be the daughter of Maya Rudolph. And then
I see what you've done there.
Yeah, and revisit it as like kids, and I would have like honestly, I would probably be the clueless one. I'm just being honest. I would probably be the clueless one.
But I feel like Gretchen Wieners, like she, like back to my previous point, even about Gigi, like Gretchen Wieners, she leads on that she might be clueless, but she's also kind of super smart. Her dad did invent toaster strudel.
Yeah, the toaster strudel, and then my friend, so my friend is a complete G. Her name is Hannah Westerfield. She's also an actress, And I swear, like, she's just, like, so cool. Like, I'll tell my mom, and be like, I'm like, Hannah now. And she's like, no, I don't think so. You're, like, a lowercase G. Hannah's the uppercase G. So I feel like she would be my friend in the movie. She'd be, like, the new Regina George. Nothing but respect for my president, guys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that would.
All right, this is good. You're bringing in a new generation of actors. Like, you're really like the youngest actor we know. Like, we don't. So you're helping. You're like educating us on all these cool, talented people. That's awesome. All right, very cool. that would be a great sequel. And also, you and Maya Rudolph. That would be comedy gold. You two together in a film. That would be a lot of fun. Have you met her? Is she like someone that you have interaction with ever?
No, I haven't, but I watched like Bridesmaids recently, and she's just like, she's hilarious. Like, she really is hilarious. And I feel like me and her kind of resemble each other. Like, she's also biracial, so I feel like I could possibly be her daughter in a film.
I buy it.
Yeah.
I buy it. I see you as her daughter.
She is one of my all-time favorites. And you guys, all right, that's it. Just let us know when we need to start the social media campaign. We will of Summer and Maya together. We're all in.
Yes, that'd be so fun.
And okay, cool. Well, that's any other teen movies anyone want to give a shout out to? I talked about American Graffiti. American Pie was the other one of this era that was sort of like the raunchy. But for me, American Pie as a teenager from that era, it was almost like sharing too much inside information. I was like, my parents cannot see this movie. Like they cannot see this movie.
Quickly going to pivot to my absolute diehard favorite teen movie as a teenager. I watched it so many times. I probably saw it 100 times. Was 10 Things I Hate About You. That for me.
Summer, if you haven't seen it, you really have to watch this movie.
Good.
I'm gonna watch that.
It was with Heath
so
Ledger
good.
and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It was so
Before either one of them were Heath Ledger and Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
It's like way back when.
Yeah. Well, Joseph Gordon-Levitt was on Third Rock from the Sun, but he wasn't much
that
more
was
than
it.
that.
He wasn't, Anyways, I highly recommend that.
Lily, do you have any other teen movies?
I made a list. Hold on. Let me bring it up. And I also want to say that, like, I've also thought, I'm like, just to back to Maya Rudolph for a second. So you mentioned she's biracial. She's also half Jewish. So part of me has also been like, I mean, I'm not biracial, but I am Jewish. And I'm like, maybe her and I could somehow be related. Because she's an Ashkenazi Jew. And I'm like, I could maybe play her daughter.
So what you're saying is you have now written yourself into Summer's awesome movie idea.
Yes,
you're like,
I could be like their cousin or something.
Yeah, I mean, you do have curly hair, so.
Well, that's Becky. Yes, I do. Becky has more curly hair than me, but I see your point.
I have more curly hair than Lily, but you have more curly hair than me.
Yeah.
So there we go.
And don't worry, I'm not going to let us get through the episode without you guys asking Summer about her hair.
I'm just as long as there's like a little asterisk on that, and we can talk about it at the end. Okay, so Clueless. That would be like would be my number one.
Clueless, of course.
Two movies that I've seen, teenage, I guess they're teenage movies. So many times I will never get tired of them. Would be Empire Records and Clueless. But then a bunch of other ones that I loved was Van Wilder, Reality Bites, and Dazed and Confused. Those for our listeners out there too, who like are more or less our age, I can't imagine somebody would disagree that those movies were not like on repeat at multiple people's houses.
Yeah.
But I loved Reality Bites as like when I was in high school. Like it was an old movie to me. You know what I mean? Like to me, I was watching something like vintage or retro.
Because it was when I started high school.
Right. But yet, 10 Things I Hate About You was like my like middle school era, you know?
Yes, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, those are all those. Wow, that was a really good run of movies, and some of those movies you probably couldn't make again, like the way with their senses of humor. Then
Clueless, I think Clueless is just I don't know. Summer, have you seen Clueless?
No, I haven't seen Clueless, but I've heard a lot about it, and I'm gonna watch it.
Oh.
It's fantastic.
Write down 10
so
things
about it.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean,
And now you guys want to know a funny connection between Summer and Empire Records? I don't know if she remembers this, but so one of the ways in which I got to know Summer was that she was a very gracious subject of my fan art when I was coming up with all of these 90s mashups to support the creation of the School of the 1990s spinoff of the Goldbergs. And one of them was I did a caricature of Summer and then some other key characters from the Goldbergs universe at doing that famous picture that was the cover of Empire Records with Liv Tyler in the plaid dress. So there is there is a picture that I put out there that is that. Summer, do you remember that at all?
Yes, I do remember, and it's so funny that you say this because, like, I just saw that picture the other day, and I was like, oh my gosh, that resembles the picture that he made, and I went back to the picture, and there it was. That's so funny that you said that.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that was...
Well, that's another great movie, too, if you want to brush up on 90s teen movies.
That one's a little bit darker than it suggests, though.
Yeah.
That one has some darker themes.
Yeah, but I would say start with 10 things. I think 10 Things I Hate About You and Clueless are pretty, like, you know, they're not dark. They're pretty light movies, and I think they stand the test of time. Like, I don't think both are based on Shakespeare, which then is just like tell your sister that's kind of like educational, and maybe you could watch it for school.
Oh yeah,
oh.
Tell her that. Watch the movies.
One is The Taming of the Shrew, and the other is Emma, right?
Yeah, or you could do what I did in high school. And when you're watching when you have to read The Taming of the Shrew for school, you just watch 10 Things I Hate About You, and you don't even read the book, which is a common behavior on my part.
Yes, I do that a lot, actually. If there's, like, something that I have to read, if there's a movie, I'm going to watch the movie.
Agreed. We 100% think that's a proper way to do it.
But we also encourage reading, okay?
Okay.
Reading is good
I'll
for
read
you,
the scripts,
too. You'll read the scripts. Yes, I love it.
Hey, you got to read scripts all day. Give her a break. She's working hard here. God.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to read stuff, emails, nonstop.
Emails. You got to read emails. What's reading emails all day? Who wants to, read a book? Mm-hmm.
So you know what? I promised my sisters. I hope Summer. We're gonna end up going a little bit over time, but I'm having so much fun that
that's fun.
I hope you're able to stay a little bit longer. My sisters wanted to ensure that we did not get through this episode without them asking you about your hair.
Well, I cannot get over it, Summer. Like, first of all, I just want to say, like, we're watching Schooled yesterday, and, like, I've seen pictures of you, of course, and Instagram and all that, but I hadn't been able to see Schooled because Hulu, you can't get Hulu where I live. They block it because of the region. So there's a lot of she lives in Spain and not like just some like lame state.
Yeah.
She lives in
right, and so it's some content is really hard for me to access, which I've talked about before on the podcast. And so I said to Shai, I was like, you got to help me find a way to watch this. So we watched it yesterday, and I'm like, oh my god, her hair is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's on another level.
And Shai was just like, oh my god, Lily, you can't be mean. Like, I can't believe you just said, like, what do you mean? What are you saying? And I'm like, Shai, be a girl for 5 seconds. And I obviously mean it's ridiculously amazing. And he was like, oh, okay. I just didn't want to make sure you were making like fun of Summer. And I was like, are you kidding me? Do you see her hair on television? I was like,
I was being very older brotherly there, Summer. I was very protective. I was very grateful you came on. I'm like, Lily, you can't make fun of her. And she wasn't.
I'm not. This hair is insane. I need to understand it. I need to hear about it.
Yeah.
Like, where does this come in your family? Because I know your brother, I saw, like, has like a hair too. Like, hair.
He has a gigantic afro.
Right.
His afro is humongous.
Obviously, hair runs in your family.
Hair runs in most humans' family, Lily.
No, not this kind of hair. This hair is epic.
Level. This is something. It's like unicorn hair.
It's magical. It definitely, I think, looks magical. It's so gorgeous.
The volume, the ringlets, the way the ringlets form, the coloring. It's
like so. First off, my question is, who does this come from in your family? Like, where does your mom have this kind of hair? Does it skip a generation? Where? Fairy dust? Where do you get this hair?
Well, my mom has very, very thick hair, And my dad, of course, he has curly hair. Well, he's bald though. Like he shaved his head a very long time ago. I mean, I've never seen him with hair. I just know, like from his baby pictures, that he's had curly hair before.
That's amazing.
Okay.
So I guess in between them, like I don't know. I honestly don't know where my hair came from. I mean,
It's so awesome.
Have you? Here's my question. As a curly-haired girl, it took me many years to embrace it. Have you always embraced the big curls, or was there a period in your life where you were like, I can't handle this?
I've always loved my curly hair, and it's so funny because usually everybody that has straight hair wants curly hair, and everybody has straight hair wants curly hair.
Yeah, I want straight.
But,
Yeah.
But like my hair, like I wear it both ways, like all the time. Like I'll wear it natural or I'll wear it straightened. Like either way. But I really do love my hair like curly.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, damn.
I just, you know what, and that makes sense to me because you're a confident, positive person. So of course you would be like, no, like this is my hair.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rock this.
What would you give to
Yeah.
have like Summer's view on life when you were 14? Right. I mean, like
I can't. I mean,
my
I don't-
childhood. I mean, I can. Yeah.
you would have been a happier. You would
You're
have been a happier
obviously
person, Becky.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad. Like, I can't wait for Summer to be a huge star because I think that people like Summer and women like Summer are so important for like Shy's daughters who are little and
Yep.
Becky's daughter. I have a
Yep.
son,
Thank
but
you.
important for my son too to see like such positive.
So that's such a role
young
model. Such a
women.
positive
Yeah.
role model. Mhm.
Thank
And
you.
there's not, and like there's like Shy, you know, originally had said it's just so impressive how she like conducts herself on social media and stuff like that. And the truth is, it really is because, you know, you're in a tougher spot and than the average teenager, I think. And yet, it's really quite impressive how you like clearly are such a kind person and open and positive, and it's not forced. You know what I mean? It's obviously you have wonderful parents and family,
thank you.
but it's really cool to see, and especially in an industry which seems like Becky works on the other side of the film industry and has worked in the industry for many years, and it, you know, and she's seen some hard things, and so like, and she's not even an actress going on auditions, so I can't imagine how difficult it must be, especially for a woman. So congratulations on
Thank
that.
you so much. I really appreciate it.
And your hair, because like, wow.
So
That's
we
awesome.
had a that's awesome.
There's just so much of it. Like it's so cool. Like you know, and I feel like, you know, women always like talk about like when they were an actress or something. Kate Winslet has this famous story that like, you know, directors telling her you're too fat, like you need to lose weight and stuff, and her being like, well, no, because this is me. And I feel like if any director ever tells you, Summer, you need to cut your hair, your hair needs to be different, you just say no, unless you really want the part.
Yeah.
Or
I-
unless you want.
Unless she wants to, Lily.
Unless you want to
Oh, wait,
for the part.
wait.
or for
Sorry, wait.
yourself.
Did that happen? You were saying that happened?
Yeah, and not with the director, but it happened very early on in the business because my hair's always been really long. Like, it's grown a lot since I first started, but I remember like one of the first agents I've had said, you need to cut your hair. It is way too long. Nobody's gonna cast you with hair like that. And I refused to do it.
Good for you.
Yeah, and actually that's how my hair is part of the reason why I got casted on one of the shows I was on, Sleepy Hollow.
Oh wow,
I was
that's
on
so
that
cool.
very early on. It was a smaller part, but I was part of that was it was like because they said my hair was like really mysterious and stuff, and that's part of the character because it was like I lured somebody in the forest and stuff like that. So that was one of the reasons why I got that role. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have got Sleepy Hollow.
That's
There you
awesome.
go.
That makes me
Gotta be
really
true to
happy.
yourself.
I having an odd name, which is a nickname. When I started my professional career, I was asking the people in my office right before I got my first business cards printed, and I said, "Hey, should I go by Shy, my nickname, or should I go by my legal name, which is Samuel?" And one of them gave me this like dirty look of being like, "Why would you ever use the name Shy?" And it's hard to pronounce. Like people don't know what it means. And I went to a mentor of mine and relayed the story and asked the question. And the mentor was like, "No, you're starting your career, you got to be who you are. You got to kind of own that, and so it's not the same as your hair, which
well, I don't know. I think a name and hair and a defining characteristic, it's about owning it.
Yeah, whatever that
characteristic
you
really
for
are.
You. Yeah,
not pretending to be someone else just so you think it will make you succeed.
And like you were saying, if someone wants to cut your hair, of course cut your hair. And if you really want a part, it's not and if someone asks you to cut your hair for a part and you want it, go right ahead. People, do all kinds of things for parts, and that's like super respectful. Like I respect that a ton. But sometimes Shy uses his actual name, Samuel. There's moments
I think
when
ordering takeout.
When I order food, I'm Sam, because it's really hard to explain Shy, and then they want to know like, oh, where's that from? And shave.
The point is that you use it when you feel comfortable. That's the point.
That's right. That's right. Okay, this is deep. I'm glad we got to go
good.
Deep.
Should we do some shout-outs?
Yeah. So So now we're gonna talk about what we're watching, or what we recommend, and I have a lot in the shout-outs and what we're watching section of the show. So I'm gonna defer to my sisters to start. Do you guys?
I don't have anything, but I will leave you with this teaser. I will be flying back to California on Friday on Air Canada, where they have some primo movies in flight entertainment. So I will be binge watching some movies and reporting back on the next episode.
That is awesome. I'm excited.
And I will be flying overseas this week, back home to Spain with a 2-year-old. So I will watch nothing.
I believe you actually both owe me some episodes of Chuck, because I watched.
I have them on my phone. I have them downloaded, ready to go.
I'll keep watching. I'm going to watch this week.
As soon as Ari falls asleep, I'll put on the Chuck.
Yeah,
I did 7 episodes of the Time Traveling Nurse, and I will keep watching the first season per our deal. But right now, it doesn't look like you're living up to the deal.
All right, I'll catch up. Or go with your list. Your list.
Well, no, Summer. Do you have anything?
Okay, so I have a few shout-outs. Shout out to my manager, Sandy, and CESD, Pedro, and my agent here, Alex. He's with AWA. And definitely my acting coach, Tim Donner. And also Melissa at CESD. And I just want to thank all of them for being such an amazing team. If it wasn't without them, I wouldn't be who I am right now. And definitely huge, humongous shout out to Adam Goldberg for my breakout role, and it's amazing.
Oh wow, that's awesome! You're like
you made our shout outs sound pretty small.
Yeah, you're mature. I at my own wedding, when I was like, Allie said we had to go give a thank you speech. I was like, we do, and she got up and gave this eloquent speech, and I was like, yeah, what she said, I didn't know. And then once we told the story about how at Becky's bat mitzvah, I didn't know we were supposed to give a speech and thank and say nice things about her, and I just said the one word. So you're the
awesome. Least memorable speech ever given.
Thank you, Becky.
You were ahead of the game, Summer.
No, Summer should have. Summer should. I'd like to see the movie where Summer goes back in time and gives my Becky's bat mitzvah speech.
Oh
no! So I want to start off with a great story from earlier today, and what's great about it is that like Summer is actually going to like back me up on the awesomeness of this. So we pre-cooked this in the pre-conversation. So you all know that I am a huge fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra, which I watched this year with the kids. And we went to AwesomeCon, the big Comic-Con here in Washington, D.C. earlier today, where she was signing autographs. And we got there. We were probably the second or third in line to meet her, and brought the kids. And I presented her with printed out posters size of a couple of drawings that I've made in tribute to her show, similar to what I've done with Summer. With Summer and the Goldberg stuff, I have done it's called Korrasami. I don't want to give any spoilers for those who haven't watched all of Avatar, but there's a significant pairing of characters in The Legend of Korra, and I drew one that she was gracious enough, or I did an animation that she was gracious gracious enough to retweet earlier this year. And I've also done a whole bunch that I call Stanimations, which are animations for her television show Stan Against Evil, which she is amazing and hilarious on. And so you know how I get. Lily knows that when I meet someone that I like truly respect, I get a little bit nervous, not because I'm nervous about talking to, a famous person, but because I just don't want to blow it. I don't want to meet someone I respect and have it haunt me for years, that I'm like, oh, I can't believe I said that. Anyways, so we met Janet Varney, the actress who is the voice of Cora, and she was beyond wonderful and sweet, and she chatted with the girls, and she took a picture with us, and she signed and wrote really sweet messages on the pictures, and she actually recognized the Korasami picture that I had drawn, and you just a truly sincere and amazing person, and it was what I assumed she was based on watching her on television and listening to her amazing podcast. Talk about podcast goals. The JV Club is an amazing podcast. And it was a truly, it was one of these great, wow, I met someone famous that I respect, but I'm not excited to meet them because they're famous. I'm excited to meet them because I respect the body of work and what they stand for, and everything came to be true. And I actually have some street cred with Summer because she was a fan of the show too, right? Summer, back me up here.
Yes. Me and my brother used to binge watch that show all the time, and then I used to act like I had the powers. He always used to make fun of me, but I always acted like I had the powers. And I was like, hey, if I was the airbender, I would be this, I would be that. And I was like, I would do all these weird moves and stuff. And he'd be like, Summer, I don't know about that.
Well,
but that show, we used to watch it every morning at the same time. And
Aw, that's
it used
awesome.
to be a tradition of ours.
That's so cool.
So that was truly amazing. So I'm gonna talk about her again next week because we're gonna talk about Stand Against Evil next week. But just everyone should check out any of the work by Janet Varney. Her podcast, her television shows. She had this sketch fest in San Francisco, Becky, which we are definitely going to at some point. And that was truly amazing. Then among other shout outs, got a shout out again to Gato One Dog. And also to Jackie Kaplan, who both gave me Spotify mixes this week. It was one of those moods where
I literally have just kept playing Jackie's 1997 mix
Jackie's
over and
been
over
listening
again.
too.
So
All the time.
Jackie Kaplan and Gato One Dog, you guys you got me in a moment of need when I wrote to Twitter. I said I cannot stand all my music right now. Help me. And they both sent us Spotify mixes, and they were amazing. And since I used Lily's Spotify account, now Lily has all of those. Ilana,
And way more AC/DC playlists than I'd like.
That's for
as
me.
well.
That's for me. That's
I
not-
know.
that's
Like
not
you're saying,
from-
now I have all these awesome playlists that you're following, and I'm like, yeah, and also a ton of AC/DC that you listen to that I don't need on my Spotify, but that's fine. You let me
and
use
then
your iTunes,
our
so we're even.
our friend Ilana has a bone to pick with Lily and Becky because she says that Mozart in the Jungle after the first season is
I
Oh.
wouldn't listen.
Oh.
It's not that I disagree with that. It's just that El Garcia Bernal is so adorable.
That's why it's called the show Candy. It's like a.
I just want to carry him around in my pocket all day. He's a cute little nugget. I just love it.
Yeah,
That's the way to
like-
describe it.
And then last but not least, so we're moving out of our house for a renovation this week. Yet despite all the craziness of our schedules, I have bought tickets to see a comedian, Erica Rhodes, at Arlington Cinema and Draft House here at Arlington, and I started following her on Twitter and Instagram, and she is hilarious and really, really smart, and she does really, really funny journal entries, if you will, on her Instagram Live, and she's at Erica Rhodes 22. If anyone is in the DMV area, that's the DC, Maryland, Virginia, that is a real thing, Lily and Becky. I know you think I made that up. That's a real thing.
Yes.
No, I've
I
heard
was
it
like,
before.
Nope,
I've
nobody's
heard
at
it
the
before. It
DMV.
doesn't-
Like,
yeah,
how
I've heard of it
embarrassing is that
before.
what
It's
you have
just
to
a weird
call your
term.
area?
A-
The
April.
DMV?
Anyways,
Ugh.
April 6th and 7th, she's been on I don't know. I mean, again, she didn't ask me to plug this. I'm becoming a huge fan of hers, and I'm really psyched to see her live. So big shout out to her. And I think that's what I've got in terms of shout-outs. Over to Becky, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, PaperBKPrincess, and definitely check out the blog this week. I think we have, I want to say, a sesame noodle recipe up, and then we got this we got a sesame noodle recipe up right now, and then Mom's black bean recipe is also coming up soon.
You're just
so if you
giving
want
Mom's black bean recipe out?
It's not very complicated. Don't stress. There's no secret family ingredient.
But it does take technique. So for all those out there, you think it might be simple, but it might take some Cuban blood to make it work.
Not actual Cuban blood in the mix.
Not Cuban blood in the recipe, just Cuban blood in the body of the person who's cooking it.
Stop confusing my potential,
followers.
And the website's address. And the website's
every
address.
day. I'm trying to give it. Everydayoat.com.
All right.
There we go.
And Lily, where can
you can follow me on Twitter at Chichi K Gomez, and you can watch me accidentally like my own tweets because I don't understand Twitter. So
your adventures in Twitter are so much fun for me. It is amazing.
So happy for you.
And Summer, where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Summer Parker.
Cool, awesome. Now, may I ask who is Baby Peanut Parker? Because oh
my gosh.
Because I feel like that is associated, that is like an adjacent social media account to you.
Yes, that is my dog. That's my chihuahua. His name's Peanut, and I made his Instagram right when I got him, and I never thought, hey, he's going to be an adult someday, so I made it Baby Peanut Parker, although I probably shouldn't have put baby in there because he's not a baby anymore.
But he is a Chihuahua, and Chihuahuas always kind of look like babies, so.
Oh, yes. He's only like 3 pounds, and he's 2 years old
Oh,
now.
my gosh.
Oh, my God. He is so little. He's so cute.
Careful with a little nugget like that.
My sisters are both
so
dog
cute.
owners, but your dog's like the size of a squirrel compared to their giant dogs, so.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. He looks like a little toy. Oh, he's so cute. And the glamour shot on that, I don't know if it's one of your profile pictures, but it's definitely on IMDb of you and him, in that gorgeous photo shoot of the two of you. It's amazing.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Cool. And so you can follow me at Pancake4Table on Twitter and on Instagram. That's Pancake, the number 4, and Table. You can follow all of the Pancake shenanigans online at pancake4table.com. If you only like the podcast and you don't want the animations or random musical things or blogs about Weird Al Yankovic, you can go to FridayNightMoviePod.com and please subscribe to the I guess if you're listening, you might not have subscribed. But anyway, subscribe, download. Please leave a review if you can on iTunes or one of the other cool places. We're available on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Podbean, and a bunch of other ones where if you are a podcast listener, that is a place to listen to us. So check that out. And I think and now I guess we'll kick in the theme music. Summer, you won't actually hear it. I have to edit it in later. But the theme music by What Does It Eat will start now. And we usually send ourselves off at the end of the show by dancing in our chairs.
I'm dancing. I'm dancing.
We still have to narrate it because you can't see us, so we're dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably just about over now. Thank you for being here.
All right. Thanks, Summer.
Thank you so much.
Fun hanging out with you.
Yes, thank you so much, all you guys, for all the support and the animation. And safe travels to all you guys.
Thank you.
And good luck with all, with whatever is up next, any auditions or parts or things you have coming up. We're excited to see what you end up doing next.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey guys, sorry, I'm here.
Oh, no, and you're at your
Summer.
usual volume, Lil. That's amazing.
What? Am I too loud?
No, you're
Yes.
like, yeah. Lil, so if you know how the Beatles had their, we're not like the Beatles, but like, so Becky's the,
What do you mean we're not
Becky's
like
the
the Beatles?
professional one, Lily's the loud one.
You're the organized one?
Yeah, no, not the organized one. I would say like you guys would find a better way to describe that as nerdy. Like you would.
Yes, you are the nerdy one.
I'm like the camp counselor one.
The cave counselor.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in the library where we did last week's. Is it okay? Or
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no,
that
now,
sounds
now,
good,
now you
sounds
sound good. When you
Okay.
originally burst on and you were like, hello, it was so loud.
my style?
Don't
Well,
ruin
hello,
my-
Summer.